Hello friends, welcome back. It's been a minute and the washing machine is going off in the background, but I can't wait one more second to start this video. Today I'm going to clean up the candle studio. I'm going to explain what's happening in my house. I've already started. I was watching some vlogs while I was waiting for the, what was I waiting for? You know, the noise. The noise was the washing machine. The washing machine. I was watching some vlogs while I was waiting for the washing machine to finish because I just couldn't be in here. This is the utility room. And talking to you guys when it gets so loud. It's like, I think there's something, it's too far away from the wall and it moves away from the wall all the time. I actually saw something on Instagram the other day where they had this like inflatable thing that you put alongside the washing machine so it doesn't judder around. Wait, let me move you a little. I think you were slightly obscured. We've lived in this house for going on 9 years, and I mean, you would not believe the noise of the washing machine on the other side of this wall. The other side of this wall is our living room, and it's so loud. Like, you can't hear the TV over it. So I feel like 9 years is the sweet spot for actually sorting something out, you know? Also, speaking of the sweet spot for sorting something out, I haven't really cleaned up this space since I did it after Christmas. Karen and I had kind of an unintended, not a full hiatus. We had a few weeks off after Christmas, and then it just extended longer than intended. It was partially supplies, which I'll get into. I did mention, I think it was in December, I was showing you those candles that weren't working, and I was showing you how I removed the wick to put in another wick for testing, which is a really good way of saving money if you are in the kind of testing period. But it is now the middle of February, and I have just given up on trying to make those candles work. They just don't. They just do not. And so I have tried to replace the wick. I think I'm on like a 4th wick. I'm like, no, this just does not work. I was never going to sell that particular batch of candles, but I was using them as a test, and I don't know if it's the wax that doesn't blend with that particular fragrance oil or what, but it's really annoying. And then I realised as well that the brand that I was using was the same brand for everything. So because it was a different wax than I usually use, this was honestly a fancier wax. But I've used it in the past as a replacement for my regular wax. I thought it's good to have replacements. It's good to have like alternatives, I suppose. Like, if this isn't in stock, I can buy this and I know it works. And that's kind of how that was. I know it works. And in this instance, it just didn't. And I bought a lot of it. And so now I've still got 3 slabs of this wax. And I literally just poured a couple of testers just to see. I bought new wicks. I'm going down I am making it exactly as the brand says, you know, this is the exact heat to use. So far, no joy at all. Anyway, I put in a complaint with that company, and they want me to send a certain amount of wax, a certain amount of fragrance oil, and a couple of wicks. And I'm going to do that because I can't understand it. And it's quite a lot of money to lose on something, it just doesn't work. It's like hundreds of pounds. Especially at this time of year, I can't really afford to just be out hundreds of pounds at the absolute slowest time of the year for our business. I don't know if you guys are even slightly interested in how I clean everything up, but it's not like a quick process. This is, don't get me wrong, it takes longer, it takes less time than I think it's going to take. Every time I think, this makes me feel great, I feel really reset, why don't I do this more often? Because it feels so visually overwhelming. I showed you at the beginning, it looked insane. It's like, I don't know how long this is going to take. Realistically, it's probably half an hour, 45 minutes, depending on how bad it is. And it's a good thing. It's a cathartic exercise for me to be doing. These are some, this is like the last 6 candles with our old wax that I had, because we're launching a new croissant fragrance. And I was like, I'm not even messing with this. We're going to do a very limited 6 candles, and wax melts of that, but they are precious. I need to heat gun the top of those, and as I was. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is, this is the longest portion of the thing, is I use my heat gun to get all of the wax, all of the residual wax out of all of these things. Some of them are worse than others, like this is pretty bad. And then this finally gets a clean. This is my little, see, and it's so stuck in the bottom, it won't even lift up. All of this is going to be just like wax free. Spoons, the spoons, so much wax everywhere. Same difference. I have actually got a cardboard box below me, and I'm just gonna melt them into the box. I made these little tea light samples with leftover wicks. No, I didn't. Leftover wax even. End of last year. End of last year, and I haven't done anything with them. They've just been hanging out here. So I'm going to, that's a bit wonky. Would we send this out as a sample? Probably not. But I'm gonna just put them together somewhere, and then I'm gonna hand them off to Karen, and she can put them in the little sample bags and give them to customers in their order. I would like to start doing more tea light samples. You know, like someone who only orders candles. It's that one. It's a good way to get someone to sample a scent by actually sending them a sample of the wax. I've looked at different people kind of pour a little tiny bit of wax on a card as a sample. I think that could potentially work, but for me, I feel like I want something that is not as wasteful. I want it to be like as usable as possible, and so a little wax cube works. However, if someone only orders candles from us, we don't even know if they've got the capacity to use a wax melt. So although it does work in that they can smell the scent, it also doesn't work in that we don't even know if they can, we don't know if that's a sample that can be used by them. So it could just be completely wasted. So I feel like we should have some samples of our fragrances in tea light form, because some people don't do wax melts, you know? I also never get changed before I do things. And in the craziest turn of event, that one little dot of wax. This is why I can't have nice things. Just a little fire hazard over here. Right now, I'm burning the remnants of a bunch of different tester candles. And these are ones that I've already burned completely down. So I'm gonna try and clean the wax out of the glasses so that I can use them again. So historically, what I was doing was I was just doing this for tester jars, but in 2025 we are launching a recycle scheme, so customers who have like bought from us lots and have still got our jars or have been keeping our jars, we will take those jars and we will give them, I decided on a number and I forget what it was now. I want to say it was 6. Anyway, I worked out kind of what made sense financially, but let's say if you send back 6 jars, then you will get a voucher for £16, which is the equivalent of 1 candle in a glass jar. So you send them back to us, we will send them postage, which is, again, this is where you have to work out cost-wise, if this makes sense. So I need to work out the top end of weight of how many jars they can send back to us within a certain weight limit, and that's really Karen's thing. I'm not a postage person, that is Karen. So I'm gonna clean all of these jars out, just see how easy is this, because obviously you've got to get all the wax out, you've got to get the wick sustainer, which we put in with like a real heat resistant silicone. From our perspective, obviously we want to recycle things, that would be great, but in terms of it being a sustainable thing to do, how much money it will save us in buying new jars, we've just kind of got to work out really how many jars someone has to send us for this to make sense before we launch that scheme. And this is my kind of final step of cleaning all these jars out, working out in terms of my time, how long does this take to sort out. We'll see, but that was another job that I needed to get done. In here I've got all my what are they called, wick holders. And I want to get all of the wax off those. So boiling water, and we hope the plastic doesn't melt. So I told you I was going to tell you what was happening with the house. And I know I'm always in disarray, that's just how I live, but it's particularly bad at the moment. And that is because my youngest child, I was thinking my eldest boy, but he's my only boy. My youngest child, my youngest teen, he left the bath running, and so I've got 2 lights in this room. I've got one above here, which is now missing. You can't see it because of the bulb, because of the globe. But there you go. Missing some plaster. That's just a little bit that I peeled off. I think we're going to be missing a lot more than that down the line. But this light above my head and that light had water pouring out of them for a solid 45 minutes because he left the bath running. And it was my fault. I mean, it wasn't my fault. It was his fault. It was my fault because I didn't check. I didn't think. I was cooking. I've been in a bit of a thing where I've been cooking chicken recently. I'm trying to make as many things as possible from that one chicken. This is boxes because some of the boxes I had left over were damaged in the Great Flood of 2025. I've been cooking. I was making a pie and I was literally just put the crust on. I was just about to do the little cute crimping and the lights went out and there was this gush of water and I was like, oh my God, I'm thinking like something's happened outside. So my initial thought was, oh no, like something really bad has gone wrong. And then I heard the bath running, realised, ran upstairs shouting, Milo. And he ran into the bathroom saying, I'm so sorry. I wasn't angry. I have done this as an adult. I've done this exact thing. Didn't feel quite as terrible as this, but I felt really bad for him because nobody does that on purpose. It's not a fun way to be. It's not a fun thing to do. And he was instantly like, oh my God, I can't believe. Like, it just makes you feel so terrible when you do those things. So he didn't need me piling on. But we didn't have any electricity for hours. In this circuit of the house is kind of split down the middle. So I was thinking, well, we've got no... also, I'd done so much cooking that day and I hadn't emptied the dishwasher yet. So I had a full dishwasher that I had to unload in the dark. Oh, boo-hoo. But then I had another load's worth of stuff that I had to try and wash up in the dark. It was just generally not a fun time. And then we figured out that kind of partially things were working. We thought everything was going to go off, but the fridge freezer and the utility was on a different circuit. It just it wasn't that bad. We had a really long extension cord that went from the utility to the hallway, so we still had internet, but half the house was kind of dark for a few days. Now we still don't have lights in half the house, but we have sockets, which is the most important thing. And I feel pretty confident. It was just a really bad flood leak, whatever you want to call it. But I think it will be okay when everything dries out, I think. So that is why this. Also, it feels like foreshadowing that I painted this whole room this like dark blue because you can barely see. Like, I know where it is, and there's like a line from, like, you can see where the water travelled through the lines, but you can barely see it because I painted the ceiling this dark blue. And if that had been white, it would have been so bad, and it would have been another job that I don't have to do immediately, because seriously, I mean, it's dark in this room. There's pros and cons. I've kind of gone back and forth over whether that was a bad idea, but pros and cons. Right, so I have had all of our stock that's left over from Amazon returned to me. It's actually in pretty good nick. Still got the Amazon labels on the back, but it's actually in pretty good nick. For the most part, it is what I would consider to be saleable. Some of the boxes are a little bit... I mean, like, this is perfect. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. I'm just looking, and there are a couple like this. The label's a bit dirty. That's not like what I would want a customer to receive. And then on this one, it looks like there's something on the top. Oh, and on the back it's dirty as well. But I might sell these. We're going to do a market this weekend, and I'm tempted to do it as like a 50% off. Like, these are, it's like everything must go. Also, our happy birthday candle is going to be renamed birthday cake. I've mentioned this before, but Happy Birthday was the theory behind it was it would be something that people would give to people. But our sugar cookie candle is so popular at Christmas. 2 Christmases now, and it's been so popular. People have requested since then, are you bringing it back as like a non-seasonal candle? No, but Happy Birthday is like quite literally a biscuit away. It's so similar. It's like we put in a tiny bit of something different to make it Happy Birthday. So it is so similar that you will like this if you like sugar cookies. But no one's buying a candle for themselves that's called Happy Birthday, are they? So we're going to rename it Birthday Cake. So we do kind of need to get rid of this stock anyway. But I'm pretty pleased with how things came back. We had a couple of Christmas candles left over there. They came back okay as well. So overall, I'm going to talk more about Amazon because we have decided to completely do away with it. I know I did that video saying we were gonna, but we really are because we've got all of our stock back now. And I think it's another 6 weeks before we can fully close our account. But now we've dabbled with FBA. I feel like our business model just doesn't work for it because we are prepared to ship ourselves. And I don't know. I don't know if it's a volume thing. I don't know. But I didn't like the additional stress of Amazon. We obviously don't make anywhere near as much money selling through Amazon because they take so much money from us. We don't have control over any of the customer service. It's a frustrating thing. And then I watched something the other day and it was someone whose business model is like 99% Amazon. And she had her money kept. And they had like so much money and she couldn't get it. And they were like trying to get her to prove, this is like years down the line of selling at volume with Amazon. And she had this major problem. And she said, like, I wish I didn't have to sell with them, but my business is so massively Amazon. And it really did just push me over the edge to, let's not do this anymore because I don't want to be pigeonholed to sell with. I mean, with a company that, let's face it, we're all trying to use less ethically, but also that is going to be taking revenue from us as such a small business and potentially could keep it. So yeah, we're not going to do that anymore, but that's for another time. Right, back to the cleaning. We've had some developments happening over here. I'm actually making some samples with some leftover wax. That's going to be another video because this is kind of like a repurposing of those candles that didn't work. Because I managed to get all of the wax out of there, I'm cleaning those jars so they can be used again. I know you're wondering, how does she get the wax off the floor? This is how. This is job one. I don't, like, we're ignoring this. We're not doing this. We're just like, leave that. Not doing underneath the shelving. That's crazy. Although, I've lost that sock a while ago. This utility room is an actual utility room still. And I've just taken over it with candles. So yeah, I get on my hands and knees and get as much of the wax off the floor as possible. So this is what happens when you put boiling water in a candle that has a little left at the bottom. All the wax melts and it sinks to the top. Sinks to the top, it rises to the top. And then, depending on how long you leave it, it's not really long enough yet. It's still soft at this point because it can just pop out hard disc. But I just want to get on with it. You can grab all the wax out of the top, throw it away, use it as a wax melt, do whatever you want to do with it, but then you've got a fully clean jar. I think part of it is the amount of wax that there is because this is thicker and this came out a little bit easier. This is what I was talking about. But this was like a half full candle that just didn't burn properly. It was an old tester and I'm going to have to do this again because it didn't fully clean out. I also had little bits left over that I decided to put into these, what are these called? Tea light samples instead of just the cubes. And I'll be interested to see if these, I mean, some of these are wonky. These will just be for me. But I'll be interested to see how well these burn because I'm not sure if I just got a Duff batch of wax or what it was, but I thought it might be interesting to do. If these work, then great. They're another tester of the fragrance. If they don't, then, you know, again, it was just a test. I've got a few, I mean, look at me. I've been doing this stuff since like 9 o'clock this morning and it's nearly 3. I am a shell of my former self. Today has been very physical. I already know tonight I'm going to have like major sciatica, like the pain running down my legs. I'm going to be so angry with myself because I didn't wear shoes. I'll tell you something else that I'm going to get in here. I'm going to get a fatigue mat, not a fatigue mat, an anti-fatigue mat. I'm going to get that for a lot of standing in here. I'm also freezing because I'm quite wet from cleaning a lot. Like I've just had a lot of water related cleaning. I'm going to do one final task. This thing is worth its weight in gold if you are someone who works with wax, very specifically, but just generally, it's pretty good. I already went around everywhere with a towel with soap on it. Literally the entire kitchen dining floor. I kind of mopped it with a big towel. And now I'm going to steam mop over the top. I don't think that I'm just like shuffling on a towel. So that's why I'm doing the Kendrick Lamar. I don't think you're ready for this. Look. Very, very rarely does this space look as clean as this. Incredible. Those are the only things, you know. Also, these are the perfume making supplies that have just been hanging around in the kitchen for 6 weeks. These are our croissant candles that I've just heat gunned and made smooth, and now I need to make all the labels and things for them. Oh, it feels so good to reset everything. I'm so excited about it. Let me show you the dog. Look how excited he is. Look how excited he is. He's not excited. He's actually probably pretty annoyed because I've moved his space around again. I was talking to someone yesterday who's got a dog that's blind, and I was saying, oh my God, I always joke with Lee. Not that that's funny, but hear me out. I always joke with Lee that it's a good job no one in our house is has any kind of issue with their sight, because I move things around all the time. But poor Manny. I mean, I think he'll like this because he can still see the outside. It's a better place. He's still kind of like in the thick of it if we're in the kitchen. He just loves that chair. That chair came from my grandma's house when she moved into a care home. She's not alive anymore, but we were able to take the things that we wanted to take, and I took her 3-piece suite, and it was pretty threadbare. At some point, I'd love to have it recovered, but the chairs and the sofa are truly, to me, the most comfortable I've ever known in my entire life. And that's one of the chairs, and I've never had them recovered. It's just like her chair. She sat in it all the time with her dog, and he loves that chair. I don't think that's a coincidence. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna be back with more regular content on this channel now. Like I said, just kind of took a little bit of an impromptu moment off. We also started doing perfumes. We missed that completely. I need to talk about that as another string to our bow, and maybe go over how that works and how we make them for those of you who might be interested. I've got a couple of craft boxes from Mystic Moments that they sent me before Christmas. I think the idea was we were going to work together, and then nothing ever happened, but they did send me the stuff. So I've got make your own body scrub, make your own lip balm, and something else. It could be body lotion. Either way, I've got all of the supplies, so I thought it might be fun to do a kind of a review of that kit, and also here's how you make this thing. Learning for me, learning for you, and you will actually be able to buy that box of supplies from them as well. So yeah, let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that. We do have a market stall at Doncaster this coming Saturday. If you are in the area or feel like travelling, we'll be at Lakeside on Saturday the 1st of March. I stupidly posted that on Instagram weeks ago and said the 1st of May. So if anyone ever turns up, that'd be great. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you then. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.